I am on, or I was on mute. I saw that icon, so at least I caught it, a few seconds in. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Monday Night Muse. I am your humble host, SoundEngraver. I hope you guys are doing well this evening, this Monday. And I just realized that I don't have YouTube up, so let's see how that looks. Can you guys see me? Am I going live? I might as well just check the channel. Let's see how this is. Let's see how we're doing. Gonna check my channel. It looks like I am live. Good. And let's see how I sound. Okay, I did see it buffering, or not buffering, but I see that the signal is slow. This could be my Wi-Fi. So hopefully it calms down and it's a nice, smooth process. So let's welcome the chat, and then let's talk about the role of excellence in art, the role of excellence in general. We can have a nice discussion. Please leave me your thoughts, your input, your feedback on that. But let's welcome the chat. Looks like a nice chat today. Now, I know my prof wasn't first. I feel like it was either Matthew Flynn or Back to the Drawing Board. I can't remember. But he said, I heard that a beautiful, is it erudite or erudite? I say, I don't know how to pronounce that word. But thank you. I know it means, intellectually acute. Muse dropped, I heard that this Muse dropped wise commentary here on Monday nights. Well, I hope I am. I hope I am wise, but I don't know how to read, apparently. And then Dr. Y says, what the prof said. Dr. Y, I hope you continue with your videos. I think they are great. No one's made any comments on sound, so I'm sure it's fine too. But yeah, your video on the sackcloth night, I think that's what the character was called. I thought that was great. I thought the narration with the fast pace sketch work and coloring, I thought that was so cool. So I hope your video finds success. I hope you generate more videos of that kind. I think people would really enjoy watching that kind of stuff. Plus, it's good to see your skill, especially with sketches, but also with your eye for color and seeing that process on, I think it's Adobe. I think that's the software you're using. And Big Al says, that's $1. I don't know. I don't think it's too much of a flirtation. I don't know. Matthew also says, hello, good to see you. Now, is it 6 hours ahead where you are? So is it 3:33 a.m. over where you are? Because that's late. Do you just stay up really late, or do you get up really early? I don't know. Back to the Drawing Board says, hello, the chat. Knitters Network says, hi, sweetie, and 4 thumbs up. Thank you for your thumbs up. I do certainly appreciate it. And Wolf10 with his greeting. Oh, hey there, SoundEngraver. And Dr. Y saying to Wolf10, he's 5th thumbs up. So Dr. Y says, Beethoven's 5th? And it's Daniel. It's always good to see Daniel. I think I'm seeing another one here. Jedi Masters Utopia. And Daniel Craig. Good. We've got a nice bunch. Does it sound good? Do I have good audio? It's all good. So let us, I think I just want to get started with my notes. We're about 4.5 minutes in, and then I'll get back to the chat. It's not a long lecture. I do have my notes up on my computer, but I think we'll go ahead and take it away. Pretty easy, pretty basic stuff, and then we'll talk about discussion. All right, so the role of excellence in art, or also your art, or just excellence in general. But talking about art, let's just talk about art. I want to start with the sentiment, going against the sentiment I've heard expressed earlier in my life, in college, maybe even earlier than college. I haven't heard it much, but I feel like the sentiment is still lingering around. And that sentiment is everything can be art, or everything is art. And that's simply not the case. Nothing, not everything is art. Art must have skill and practice behind it for it to be art. Now I know you can counter that argument with saying, "Well, what about my 4-year-old niece's work of art? It's a cute project she gave you as a token of endearment, but it's not art." When I say art, I mean a very serious thing for us to embrace in our society. And you guys all know, people say, I don't really understand art. And I actually don't believe that. I think people on a fundamental level do understand art. They understand when an art piece is serious. They understand when the art piece provides levity and entertainment, but it also is still well done. So I do believe, and I'm a professional musician, and I'm composing. I sell my music. I do believe art does take skill and practice. And I do believe you should have a good number of years of experience behind you, where you are at that level producing art. And I do believe art must be excellent, because I saw a lot of college projects in my day where they say, "Oh, this is art." It was like, no, it's not. No, it's not. Because you gotta treat art like you treat the athletics. You won't ask. You're not going to recruit a C-rated or B-rated athlete for your team, especially if you have an A-rated athlete for that team. That's as far as I'll go into sports, but you know what I mean. Athletes are the cream of the crop. They are at their prime, and they are ready to take on some events and some difficult things that I can never do. But anyway, let's talk about art. So, not everything is art. Art must have skill and practice behind it, and it must be excellent. Now, you can have bad art out there, but it's bad art, and I'll call it bad art. So, why excellence? Why is excellence? Why is it important? One is we do need excellence. We need excellence for the betterment of our society, and we'll get to that. But why I was thinking about this, the importance of excellence in art is actually something that has recently occurred, and that is this film that you guys all know that has been released, and that is Wonder Woman 84. Now, I didn't see it myself, so I really couldn't comment on the quality sincerely unless I saw it myself, but I did see video essays of channels who are specialized in commenting on a video, and I had seen images and footage. One person in particular provided footage of the video, and things like CGI and special effects were just really poor in quality. And this isn't atypical. This isn't just Wonder Woman 84 being an anomaly or, a black sheep. This is quite a common thread now that we have seen, that this community has seen for a number of years and also has complained about, where the quality of filmmaking and storytelling has been quite poor. And the thing with Wonder Woman 84, it's pretty interesting. It was Critical Drinker that I had seen. He made a comment like, "Why? I mean, are these special effects made in the 80s? Because it was, the time period was in the 80s. The setting is in the 1980s, and he was complaining that the effects are rendered so poorly that he was kind of joking if the effects actually came from the 80s, and it got me thinking, like, why do these big industries, these big name filmmakers, Hollywood, for instance, they've got big budget, they've got state-of-the-art studios, and they have high-level talent. So why in the world are they coming up short when it comes to basic things like effects or pacing or writing or storytelling, to where the general public who isn't an expertise in the filmmaking to the point where they can't get through the structure or the narrative or the art without complaining about the poor quality. I find that fascinating. I find that you know, big time producers and writers and filmmakers are actually coming up short with things that are expected of maybe a college student film. Like, oh, we didn't make the cut. We didn't make the special effects work. We didn't make the dialogue work. We didn't make the writing work. But no, this is Hollywood. This is where it should be the bread and butter of our filmmaking, at least, here in the United States. So I think that's important. I think Wonder Woman 84 is just a recent, if not the most recent example of poor quality in art, at the deficiency, of it, being deficient in quality, the lack of excellence. This poses a problem for us as a culture, as society, as a group of people. I think it poses a problem for humanity in general, because I do believe if lower standards of excellence or lower standards are consistent, it will, over time, if it hasn't already, it will over time sedate us. So what do I mean by sedating us? Well, I think over time we settle for entertainment only, and entertainment that doesn't require deep levels of thinking and analysis. And you do not have to be an intellectual to be entertained by thinking. People analyze, even if they wouldn't call themselves analyzers, or conducting strict analysis like you would see in a college, or maybe as an art critic or a movie critic. Even though they might not see themselves as critics of that state, it really it's not too far for me to say that we are still entertained by seeing and experiencing things that require deep levels of thinking and even analysis. Now, you can have entertainment, but it shouldn't be only entertainment everywhere. Entertainment is valuable, but it's a value among other values. It's not the end all be all, and it certainly shouldn't be every film, every film where it's only to sedate us, to pacify us, to kind of get us mindless, where nothing, if nothing is coherent or nothing makes sense in the structure of it, in the beauty of it, or in the form of it. But why is that? And I don't think we should settle for less. I do think we should hold the big industries and artists, any artist, myself included, any independent artist, I think we should hold them to a standard of excellence and good quality. Now, what constitutes excellence? Well, I have a few things. I have three things. The first is aesthetics, the beauty, the attraction, and the appeal of a thing. The second thing is form, the structure of a thing. So this can include the shape, it can include the size, it can include the length, if it's a piece of poetry, a novel, or a piece of music. And there's the external form, let's say like the well-written novel, and there's also the internal form, the prose, the dialogue, the pacing of the novel, the sentence structure, for instance. So we've got aesthetics and form, and also function. Aesthetics, form, and function. The value of a thing to an individual or to a society. So for instance, what's an example that would provide value? Well, fables and fairy tales, for centuries, always had good stories, good characters, and usually in a shorter format with a moral at the end of the story, so that children can learn to make wise decisions and treat others kindly. So there's value in the fable. There's value in the fairy tale. Now, excellence in art doesn't require all three for it to have excellence, but I do think requiring all three, the aesthetics, the form, and the function, I think acquiring all three contributes to a better level of excellence. And lastly, what excellent art does for us. I will say we are in dark times. You know it, I know it. And I would say excellent art is very much needed in the present day and age, because it builds morale and it gives us hope. it could be in the form of escapism, sure, but it's something, escapism that requires that requires meaning, that has meaning for you, that offers meaning to you. Excellent art is a service to people. My listeners, for instance, I've said this before on my stream, my listeners listen to my music while they're working, while they're doing emails, all that stuff. They say it's attractive, unique, but the sounds and the music, they're not distracting. And those sounds delights people. The sounds delight people, the music delights people. They do enjoy it. And that's a service, that to give people that avenue to work ahead and be productive while listening to my music is probably one of the biggest compliments. That's just who I am as an artist, because my favorite artists provide that for me. I think that's really, really important. So we've got art building morale and giving us hope. We've got, I should say, excellence in art providing service to people, because our world is bleak and full of evil. So there was a sentiment long expressed in my college years, that art needs to get people uncomfortable. It needs to provoke people and make people think in kind of a harsh way, maybe seeing the world in a different way than they would otherwise see. But not that there's anything wrong to seeing something differently or seeing the world differently, but the method to do that usually came in the form of a shock or getting people uncomfortable. And that, shocking for the sake of shocking or shock value is meaningless and it's short-lived. And artists who do that, they're going to find that they'll have a very small audience, and they'll find that will get old over time. If you're an artist out there who tries to do some very hard edge, ruthless things, like in music, for instance, you'll have an audience. You could captivate an audience. You'll have some followers, but they won't follow you for your music. They're following you for an idea. So if you put your ideas before your music, if you put those ideas before your art, they can they are separate as much as they are together. If you put that idea in front of your role as an artist, then you're only going to have that kind of following. You're not going to have a following a following that honors your music for music's sake. We don't honor, people who want to get people very uncomfortable with their art. They don't honor art for art's sake. I know that's a harsh opinion, but I don't know. I lived through those times, and I'm ready to give hope. I'm ready to give hope to people with my art, or at least delight. At least something that feels good. So that is that. I would say art that comforts and inspires people is a demonstration of humanity. So if you want to provide compassion, we talk about, we have these buzzwords, about compassion and being kind to people. You'll hear the sentence, maybe you'll see it on a tweet, kindness is free, guys. Yeah, well, it is free, but I think artists should provide kindness to people through their art and not get people on edge or uncomfortable. Not to say your art can't have conflict. Of course it can have conflict. It needs conflict. Conflict is important, but it must be conflict that ensues meaning at the end or through it all. Excellent art points to something that is outside of us too. I think this is really, really important, why we need excellent art in our society, what it does for us. When we see excellent art or when we produce excellent art, it points to something that is outside of us. We live in a world, especially here in the United States, but it's all over, especially really since the 80s, since self-motivational speakers had, took the industry by storm. You got a lot of self-help. You've got a lot of self-motivational speakers. And then ultimately the entrepreneur industry. When you really listen to the language of those speakers and those people, as well-meaning as they could be, they are really about prepping you and pampering you for self-care and being self-absorbed. I'm not saying, don't take care of yourself, don't take care of your health and your mind and your well-being. But if you do too much of that, you do become self-absorbed. You don't pay any mind to people around you. And I think we do live in a world where people just go inward and they rely so much on what they feel. And this leads to dangerous philosophies I'm reading about with Professor Alan Bloom. But philosophies I sort of intuitively knew, having gone to a liberal arts school or getting a liberal arts major. These dangerous philosophies have told us to rely on our passions and our feelings and not on logic and reality. And when we only see ourselves, we can't see outside ourselves. That might sound obvious, but when you can't see outside yourself, all you see in yourself is your reality, and that's solipsism. And it's also, it could lend itself to becoming nihilism ultimately. And that can ensue, and that can take over your art. That can become a part of your art. So excellence in art mitigates that, because when you have excellence in art, you have meaning in art. If you have meaning, you can't have nihilism. And if you have meaning that extends to another person, you can't have solipsism. So the point to that is we do create art. We create art that conveys what is fundamental to us. This could be morals. This could be heroism. This could be a higher order of things. This could be the divine. This could be religion. This could be God. We do, in and through excellence in art, or anything for that matter, we do create and convey what is fundamental to humanity. And art is that tangible reminder of what is good in the world. And we need to see what is good in the world in evil times like this. So just a bit of a recap before I go back to the chat. Not everything is art. It must have skills and practice behind it, and it must be excellent. We need excellence as people, as part of a society. What composes excellence, or what constitutes excellence, I don't think I'm saying that word correctly. What constitutes excellence is aesthetics, form, and function. You don't need all three for excellence to happen in art. You can have something completely about form or function, and maybe have it be something grotesque or something foreign or otherworldly that we might not really understand intuitively. But I think including aesthetics, I think including the beauty, objective beauty to your art will bump up the level of excellence. And I think I'm safe to say that that's objective. And why we need excellent art around us and what it does for us is it builds morale, it gives us hope, it provides service to people, and it also points to something outside of us, creating something outside of ourselves. Our art is not wholly integrated in us. When we release it, it's out for the world to interpret and take and embrace or reject. Not that it's an embrace of you or a rejection of you, or acceptance of you, I should say. But we do understand that when we see something, when we produce something that is above standard, that is something that resonates with other people. Therefore, it is outside of us. And this helps us avoid the dangerous philosophies like solipsism and nihilism. And I think it's important. Part of excellence in art is creating something and conveying something that is fundamental to us as human beings. Morals, honor, nobility, virtue, heroism, a higher order of things. And to create that for it to be a tangible reminder in the future, even after we have long passed. So those are my notes. Hopefully that went well. Let's talk about the chat. Where are we? Matthew Flynn says he commented second. Daniel Harris says, I just sent you a link to a free John Williams Marine Corps concert. Wow, that's cool. Well, I'll check that out after stream. Are they performing live? Or has it been a recording? But that's cool. That's wonderful to hear. Dr. Y says, I got another video in the works. This one might take a different avenue in terms of discussion. Okay, interesting. Yeah, very interesting. Wolf10 says, I have another video waiting. Why does YouTube take so long? Or why do you take so long to load videos before uploading? Yeah, what I tend to do is, if I have a task at hand after loading up my commentary videos, what I tend to do is I will wait until I've loaded up on YouTube. And because sometimes, sometimes depending on the day or bandwidth or whatever, internet, 9-10 minute video could take a long time to upload. What about the less, Big Al Presents says, what about the less skilled artists who produce non-excellent art but enjoy themselves? Should they quit? Absolutely not. Because if you find fulfillment and joy producing that, no, they shouldn't. They shouldn't quit. If you find, I'm not saying eradicate non-excellent art. That's not a word, non-excellent. I'm not saying you eradicate art that is not excellent, but the problem is what we're seeing in our culture is like it's not a clean sweep, but it is certainly consistent where we have seen things, just basic things, things like structure or form or the way things look or how things sound. We're not seeing enough good art and can't even make it a comparison between good art, like excellent art that can be entertainment, but excellent art to art that just falls flat. That people, even people are they're just saying, what about this? We didn't. I guess I'll use the example of Wonder Woman again. Apparently I didn't know this, but the running time was 2.5 hours, and I thought the first Avengers movie I think is 2 hours and 20 minutes long. And I actually think that's long anyway, even for a film like the first Avengers, but it was enough of a story and pacing and dialogue and character development and all that to really help me get through flow through the time, really not feeling like it was a drag at all. But I understand a lot of people complained that this movie was 2.5 hours. Was it 2.5 hours, guys? The runtime. I think there were a couple sequences they said that there were just filler and unnecessary to the story. So trimming, a good example of a good method of producing excellent art is trimming down the unnecessary. In fact, removing the unnecessary. I find that with writing, and I certainly find that with producing music. Now, less skilled in terms of skills, I still think people can produce excellence at the skill set they are in. So if you're getting into electronic music for the first time, and let's say you're 2 years in with practice, we'll go even shorter than that. Let's say about 9 months to a year. Well, you can still try to create as best as you can with what the skills with the skills you have. So I've said this before. I'm still not at the skill I want to be with composing music. I can produce what I can, and I certainly make it the best of the best art, and I create it to the best of my ability. But just because I'm 5 to 7 years in this field, I still kind of gauge it. I think really where I want to go, that's probably going to take another 3 to 5 years. So I think people who don't have the chops yet can still produce excellence with what they have. I'm a teacher of predominantly beginning violin students, and they know when they are good. And yeah, their tone sounds rudimentary. Part of it's their student instrument because the violin is so cheap. but I know the tone they can get. I know the excellent tone they can get to. Even if they're not even 3 to 6 months of playing violin, I know what they can do to be excellent in their performance. And I know what's subpar even on their level. So I don't think it's a matter of level. I don't think it's a matter of the skill set or level. I think excellence can be produced at any point of the learning curve. But if the artist only does art for self-fulfillment or enjoyment, that's reason enough to produce art. You would never want to silence someone for doing what they love. But I would just say that for our culture, let's not just only have subpar. I think you can have subpar. I mean, you kind of need the subpar and the mediocre to reference to as far as objectionable standards, but I don't think it should be a clean sweep. I think the objectively good art, at least in popular culture, popular art is lacking. And in fact, I mean, it'd be kind of fun if you guys can think of a good film. If you guys can think of a good film and pick or it doesn't have to be a film. It could be a story, it could be a comic, it could be any sort of art form. Put in the chat what exceptional piece of art you saw in the year 2020, if you can, or 2019. The last couple of years. That is a good point. Back to the drawing board. Oh, I need to watch your video. It was like a narration with, was it storyboards or sketches? I'll have to check that out. I meant to watch it and then I got sidetracked with teaching or something. The flaw with modern storytelling is it's focused on how the creator feels about it, not its artistic merit or its value to the audience. Yeah, I think you definitely have to excuse me, you have to have the creator feeling something for it or something about it. It definitely has to be integral to what the creator is doing, producing, and how the creator is responding to the work in progress. I mean, I'm the same way with my music. I'm the same way with my story. I love my story, but to disregard the artistic merit and the standards of excellence or the value it can pass on to the audience, yes, I think that's a problem. So I would say there's a healthy blend, and you said it's focused on how the creator feels about it and not on the merit. So that is reading a comment of Wolf Tens. That's what's important. So focusing less on how you feel about it and more on, you're right, the standards of excellence. Matthew Flynn says East Coast is 5 hours behind and West Coast is 8 hours behind. My time is 2:40. Probably later when you read this. Yeah, it's 3:04 your time now. You're like the professor. Stays up late. Hit that thumbs up, folks, only if you like it though. Don't like something, don't smash that like button if you don't like it. Yeah, that's a very good mission, Wolf 10. And you got to think of your art like a mission. Now, I told on a recent stream, maybe not that recent, a few months ago, where I'm not a proponent of activism in your art. Like, don't be an art activist, only because you put your beliefs first or your ideology first, and that actually could hurt the work. Not true of all art. I'm not saying it's true of all activist art, but it shouldn't. The art still should come first. Now, your art should still come first in hopes to inspire, instill confidence and courage with your work. And That's a really good motive. I mean, it might sound like I'm contradicting myself, but really, if you put the art first, everything else will fall into place. I've noticed that. If you put quality and artistic quality first, things fall into place. So let's say you are an ideologue. Let's say you have a belief. And let's say that belief really contends to the mainstream idea of the world. Okay, do art based on your ideology, but do the art first. Give it merit first. Give it value first. And then everything falls into place. Yeah, Daniel Craig, solipsism pretty much the only thing our society knows anymore, which is really bizarre. It's really bizarre. We like the way I see the world running now. It's like we're not solipsists as individuals. we're solipsists as a collection, which is really trippy. I mean, we are living in science fiction. I mean, it's crazy. It is, but it's not fiction, unfortunately. We're living in the science fiction minus fiction. Matthew Flynn says, I have posted some of my artwork on my MeWe account. Cool. Do you just go by Matthew Flynn as your MeWe project or MeWe account? Yeah. Dr. Y says, well, to Al, but finished not perfect. Yeah, no art is perfect. There's a standard we aspire to, but I mean, some things about my music or some things about my story or whatever, it'll fall short, but it's going to be done to the best of my ability. Professor Geek says, great point. Sadly, we now live in a culture that tries to shame and punish people for not supporting poor quality art if it is in step with the big tech Hollywood ideology. Yeah. I just kind of, of course I don't care for the ideology anyway, but I would just, as long as, make it good. That's the thing, is they actually would probably win more people to their ideology if they made their stuff good. But see, ideology doesn't pay any mind to quality. It can't because it's embedded in, I would say it's like the scion of something that's already more deeply rooted, which is the philosophy that nothing, it's all relative. It's all about my passions. It's all about how I feel and stuff like that. It's not about how you feel. It's not about how the world feels. It's just how about what I feel. And I'm not saying be soulless. I'm not saying be a blank slate and not have any emotion in your own art. But they can't see quality. Like ideologues can't even see quality. It's not part of their spirituality. So because anything that's poor quality, all they have to do is say, "Oh no, it's good," and they'll actually see it as good. That's the sad part. Meet Grimlock want to know what solipsism is. Okay, so basically, I mean, I don't have like the philosophical terminology or way of explaining it, but it's basically seeing reality only as you are. So now we see this obviously with politics and social political discourse, but it could come into a state where I was kind of playing with this in my speculative novel years back. I wrote a novel, speculative fiction, and it got to the point where the person nothing existed to let's say, how do I put this? Nothing existed outside of him. So he created his own existence. So reality was as he really did see it, but it was so inward, and anything that he didn't think about, anything he disregarded was actually, you know, nixed, which is very scary. No, so that's uh, a more extreme way of seeing solipsism, but it's like, oh, existent, like anything exists is how only you see it. That's the general idea of solipsism. All right. Oh, good to know, Dr. Y. One of the reasons Don Bluth left Disney was because it had put quantity over quality, and that was back in the 80s. You know, when we saw Xanadu and it was that animation sequence, I I felt so much heart for that kind of animation. Now, I grew up with that animation as a 90s kid, and I'm not saying the films that I saw of his animation I liked particularly. Um, did he do An American Tail and Fievel Goes West? If he did, I like the animation, but I didn't care for the story at all. I thought it was a little too absurd for me and my taste, but I did appreciate that animation. I think Thumbelina was another one, which I don't think I saw until later in life. I didn't really care for the story that much, but the animation, there's just something so precious about that animation. I mean, you really do see heart behind that animation. So when that sequence appeared in Xanadu, I got a little teary eyed, and I don't think it was nostalgia. I think it was like, yeah, that was gorgeous. There was heart behind the animated sequence. So yeah, well, good on him. Good on him. Matthew Flynn says, yes, it's just my name. So if you guys are on MeWe, go check Matthew Flynn out and his work. I wonder if you could see pieces of art publicly on MeWe, even if people don't have an account. Oh, Samuel Proctor's in the house. What? Let's see. I think it jumped a little bit, guys. Whew. Man, my eyes just started watering. Back to the Drawing Board says, I discovered the band Engra in 2020. Great music if you like metal. It kind of sounded like a metal band. Same for the band The Beast in Black. Can't think of a story or visual art I discovered in 2020. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I could go on with like electronic music releases in 2020. But yeah, as far as stories, I'm not sure. And I'll give Big Al credit. The Mandalorian and The Haunting of Bly Manor. Well, I definitely, The Haunting sounds like a horror film. So I probably won't see that. But yeah, I mean, I know of horror film providing good quality art. Samuel Proctor says there's a great out of frame video on why ideological stories always fail and ones that put the stories first always succeeds in winning people's hearts. That's cool. Out of frame. I will check it out. Oh yeah, actually, I thought I saw a good comment by Matthew Flynn. Ideology doesn't care as long as the message is continued. And not only that, I know it's probably gonna rattle a few cages, guys, but not only that, but ideology doesn't care if their business tanks. Ideology doesn't care if they go out of business. And RJ from the Fourth Age, he talked about this a little bit with Marvel Comics, and where, you know, issues were being canceled all the time and sales were dropping, but they did not care, because the whole point really wasn't to sell comics at that point anymore, at that stage anymore. The whole point was to get those issues that didn't sell well, to get those issues in libraries and bookstores for the younger generation to consume. They just needed the stuff out there. They didn't care if they didn't make money. And I would say I know I'm I'm probably saying a lot, but it's going to be the same with Disney. I think it's going to be the same with Disney. People say, "Oh, that's preposterous. Disney can't go under the water or go down." Well, we probably got the current administration to back that up, to bail them out if that happens, which would be really sad. But yet, companies. I mean, I guess I can't speak for actual businesses. You know, I'm not talking about entertainment. I don't think they care if it goes down in flames. Speaking of which, where's shot down in flames? Peter DeRosa in the house. Disney is an evil and soulless corporation, creatively bankrupt. All they know how to do is buy and destroy rather than create. In short, I despise Disney. Disney was awesome when I was a kid. Back to the drawing board confirms he did do the first American Tail. Don't know if he was involved with the sequel. I felt like the animation, if I can remember, I felt like the animation was a little bit different. Except there's this one, I forget what the character's name is, the sister mouse, the older sister. I remember she's like washing windows and like these old postcards to clean them up, and she's singing, and the way the postcards are being cleaned. I think they're postcards or letters or whatever. I remember it being beautiful, but I didn't care for the story at all. I just don't remember liking it. I found that to be a really absurd couple of stories. Oh man, that makes sense why I like him so much. Thumbelina, okay, I knew that. Anastasia, I did not know that, but that makes sense. And American Tail, Land Before Time, which was besides Charlotte's Web, Land Before Time was my movie. And Titan AE, which I sort of see. No, I think I'm thinking of the Iron Giant. I kind of want to see what this looks like now. Oops. Titan with an N, not an L. Oh, wow. Huh. I've never heard of that. A 2000 American animated post-apocalyptic science fiction adventure film by Don Bluth and Gary Goldman. Really? And it's got a pretty good looking cast. Huh. Never heard of that one before. Wow. That movie looks interesting. Wolf 10 was saying, I think he's only responsible for the first American Tail and Land Before Time, not the sequels. Yeah, sequels. Land Before Time sequels. Oh my gosh. They were cute, but I pictured them more like episodic movies, like you would see in a television show, but much longer. It just didn't hold up to that original story. Oh, that's a good story. And I'm just thinking of the score too. Can't remember who composed it. Daniel, are you still around? Who composed Land Before Time? The out of frame video is called Valerian and the City of Red Tape. Oh, very interesting. Thank you for the recommendation. Dr. Y says, Wolf Walkers. I haven't watched it all the way through, but it is a beautifully animated film. Cool. Yeah, so there's good stuff out there. Dr. Y says an ideology can be summed up in a quote by Heath Ledger's Joker. It's not about the money; it's about sending a message. I mean, yeah, isn't it? I don't remember what he says, but I do remember a scene in that film where he just lights a whole big giant pile of cash on fire. That's guys, make that happen. Make that a meme. Make that a meme when it comes to ideology destroying businesses. I don't think I could think of a better scene than that scene right there. Yeah, agreed, Wolf 10. They want to brainwash the youth. I've seen in books in Target that smelled like ideology reads, but in the short section. Excuse me. Big dinner. Ever since Walt died, his company went downhill, creative integrity for decades until the 90s, and got their integrity back. The Frank Wells died and started falling down again. I mean, I thought the 90s, getting out of the 80s and 90s was pretty good, and I thought there were some good things in the 80s too. Oops, I think it skipped down, guys. 1 second. Samuel Proctor says that Titan AE was like a 90s Marvel comic, mostly bad, but you could tell they really tried and loved making it. I think that is important. You do have to have the heart, and you'll have projects, you artists out there. You guys will have projects that you love and that you put your heart and soul in, and it may fall short, and that's just the way. That's just the nature of things. Peter DeRosa says Disney was once a special, was once upon a time, was special once upon a time, but those days are long gone, sadly. The Great Mouse Detective, Jungle Book were my favorites. I love Great Mouse Detective. I remember seeing Titan AE and Iron Giant in the theater. All right. All right again. Yeah, that's a good. It's a good film. He's a scary villain. I'm a bigger fan. This is Dr. Y. I'm a bigger fan of Five Goes West. Of course, I'm a Western fan, and I grew up with it. Plus, it has John Cleese voicing the bad guy. Yeah, bad guy was pretty cool. He was pretty interesting. All right. So, nice short chat. We're still under the hour, so I don't really have much to say. We might cut it a little early unless you guys had some other questions. I mean, I hope that makes sense. I hope what I said makes sense. The thing with it, and you guys know this, those of you who live stream, is sometimes when you're streaming live, you'll think of something and then you'll say something and it doesn't make sense in your head how it comes out of your mouth. I do struggle with that sometimes, so I always have to make sure I make sense. Now I think people are quoting song lyrics, so I guess I'll use the yeah, look, oh man, looks like Professor Geek dropped a video. I'm looking forward to that. I got the notification, so I was like, that's probably him. I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, we're in some interesting times, guys. We're in some very interesting times. But I would say, I think what people are missing in all of this and all of this to do and stuff. I think the assumption is most people have been sorely sedated over stuff like this, like what we faced last year with the pandemic and stuff like that, and all the lockdowns and all that crazy stuff. And I think people are taking it as, oh, we've been sedated. We're just gonna comply because we just want to be convenient. We don't want to inconvenience anyone. But I actually think I think if more buttons are pushed, I think they're going to understand that there's going to be this American spirit that rises up like a flame and say, no more of this nonsense. We'll find our means of entertainment elsewhere, and yeah, that's all. So yeah, I'm looking forward to the video prof. How long is it? I like your videos between 10 and 15 minutes, but I tend to listen to videos that are 20 minutes or more. Let me double check if I have any other. I just want to double check if I have any comments that I'm missing. StreamYard doesn't seem to get all the comments. But yeah. Anyway, do you guys have any more questions, comments, concerns? I think actually what I'll do is go ahead and plug my Indiegogo campaign page. That's really hard for me to say. Campaign page. See how it's doing. It's doing very well. All things considered, it's doing wonderfully. Yeah. So let's see. Share screen. And share. Got it? There it is. There we go. So we've got 18 days left here, and 44% of the goal, which is great. I've had a lot of support, a lot of good people making sure that I have the funds to create this album. You know, get this. Well, this album is technically created. It's all my tracks already. I just have to bounce my tracks and send it over to the mastering engineer. I think what's going to happen is I'm going to, from the different studios, I will be paid probably a couple of times this week, and I'm gonna. I made the goal for the first album, and so I'm gonna send that over to my mastering artist or mastering engineer, and so we could get that album released maybe first week of February. That'd be awesome. Maybe second week of February. Definitely by mid-February. And I already have 4 tracks for another album underway. I'm very excited about this one. It's 4 tracks. It's more space ambient. It gets you in the zone. It's a lot more introspective, but it's got some feeling of sci-fi. The first track is actually pretty upbeat, but it's got this like minor ostinato. It's going to sound cool. I may do a video on that for my sound experimentation video Thursday. Works in progress. I haven't really made a lot of progress in SuperCollider this week, so we'll just have to work with that. But that's my page here. So I don't think I mean, you guys could read it. I won't read it to you, but looks like I got 1 claim for my single tracks and 4 claimed for my Happy Anomaly and a couple claimed for my Sunkissed and Edgewise albums. But there you go. I'm going to stop screen share now. So 18 days left. It's making a really, it's making a very good wide appeal. It's got the support it needs. If I make the actual goal, top it off to 500, that will cover 2.5 albums worth of music. That would be so sweet. So we'll see. All right. So if I'm going to go through the last of the chat, but if nothing else, I'll probably just plug away and maybe have a shorter stream tonight, which is fine. I didn't get a lot of work done, so I'd like to get some work done after the stream. Samuel Proctor says Daily Wire has already competed with Hollywood and others will join them to decentralize entertainment. A comic skate of movies. That's right. We didn't. Yeah, we've had it for games and comics. Gamergate, right? I mean, here's the thing. Some of these Comicsgate and Gamergate, Gamersgate, they could have a bad reputation of being all these sentimentalists and they'll there'll be insults thrown at them and stuff like that. But the idea is right. These gatekeepers in Hollywood and in the academics and all of that have just not allowed for real, good, honest to goodness artistic growth. And so what do people do? We're like, we'll just make up our own stuff and sell it as a business too. And really that's the sentiment. Now, of course, there could be controversy and there could be bad apples in those groups and stuff like that. But I mean, that's what you do. That's exactly what people do. Peter DeRosa says, Sound Engraver, what are your thoughts on 80s retro synth wave music? Tonebox is a very underrated newer artist who truly captures the nostalgic, almost video game feel for music. Tron-esque. Nice. Tonebox, huh? Let's see. Because I do like retro music. I do like retro synth a lot. That looks pretty cool. Looks like he has a good following, or she. I don't know who it is. The synth soundtrack to your dreams. I'm going to see this real quick. If I feel like it, I might share it. I might share the site. Oh, man, that looks cool. The image looks a little scary. There are some... not a fan of the provocative images, but the... I should check out some of that old purple neon. Yeah. I won't share the images on my. It's not terrible, but I don't want to show any provocative images either, or even slightly provocative. Tonebox. Okay, I'll remember that. I'll remember that soundtrack. Because I love synth music. I haven't listened to synth music in a long time. I have recommended Cinnamon Chasers, the band Cinnamon Chasers, and that's got like a new coding of older music, and it's really, the stuff he's produced is really well done. Dr. Y, Atlanta. I mean, are you around that area? Yeah, I heard that Atlanta was pretty much that next big location for Hollywood, and yeah, I would say that's not nice. We should just leave Hollywood in California. We don't need Hollywood. There are already just great things happening. All right, so why don't we go ahead and plug away some stuff? I'll have this be a short stream. Hi, Melissa. Good to see you. I was wondering where you were, but actually, we're probably wrapping it up. It was a nice short talk and a nice short stream. I'm content to move along and wish everyone a good evening. But let's go ahead and plug away all the things to do into this next week. So Tuesday, tomorrow, we will have, of course, probably Wolf 10, Wolf 10 Media with his streams. Of course, I teach, so can't really make it. But WCR, right? WCR, Wolf 10. Any topic that you're talking about? And a Catholic Bible Geek channel tomorrow at 9 with Big Al Presents. And they will be finishing The Horse and His Boy, the third book of the Chronicles of Narnia, the series, probably at 9 p.m. Eastern. Hopefully I don't teach late. That might be a fast commute back home. Wednesday, we've got soundtracks of Birdman. I understand from Age of Boomer that he has a special guest. And Daniel Hand has a special guest, but I don't know who that person is. So be on the lookout for that. They will be watching E.T. probably 8:30 Eastern time is my guess. I don't know. But that's that. And then we also have Green Lion Girl with her streaming on her channel Wednesday nights. Thursday, we will have Catholic Bible Geek channel on the Gospel of John, but we will also have the Kenobi book study with Big Al Presents over on the Professor Geek channel right after, probably around 10:15-ish when they'll start. I understand that Fan Man's going to be mostly on hiatus. That's all right. But just kind of look around on his channel just in case he feels like posting something. We've got also Saturday. We've got rewatches, right? But I don't. Oh, I think Big Al. I think you've got a. What is it called? The Beastmaster. What in the world is that movie? So that's going on his channel. I'm assuming 10 p.m. Eastern time. So I'm so excited for the weekend. The Prof is coming. Yay. I'm so looking forward to it. He said he was going to bring his mother's shepherd's pie, which I'm down. And she makes the best buttermilk ranch ever. Like, I think buttermilk ranch, when I taste that buttermilk ranch, it's like ice cream, but not sweet. It's like that addictive food. It's very, very addicting. It's so delicious. And that on shepherd's pie is the most amazing thing ever. So that will be fun. I'm looking forward to this weekend. And then, of course, study hall with Aged Boomer and Troy Pacelli. Anyway, let's talk about. Yeah, Samuel Proctor. I think history is repeating. I'm not sure about what you said. Like it probably. I just don't. I don't know enough to post that comment. But yeah. Buttermilk ranch, man. That's it, man. It's like so good. Like you cannot have any other ranch for the rest of your life after you've tried the Prof's mother's buttermilk ranch. Okay. Yeah, it like I only saw one image and I'm like, what is this? So I remember Troy Pacelli saying instead of Beastmaster, it was Beast Man. And then Aged Boomer said, is that right? He's like, no, you were mentioning the Prof, so I was thinking of He-Man. I was like, yeah, that's right. Every time you think of Professor Geek, think of He-Man. That's good art. As far as storytelling and all that good stuff, that's good art. So, all right. So I think that's all for me today. I feel like I'm missing something. But anyway, I think I will adjourn. So sound experimentation every Thursday, of course, maybe some work in progress this week or some sort of sound experimentation with SuperCollider, depending on if I get something cooler or something more in SuperCollider. Sometimes I'll be troubleshooting in SuperCollider and it's just the same stuff and I'm not getting anything new. So we'll see how that goes. But it will be a sound experimentation anyway on Thursdays. And of course, live commentary every Monday night. We will try to get more commentary, whether that's like a video game analysis or an electronic music review. I still want to do that, of course. Hopefully, it might start on the week of the 19th where I will begin doing that. So in any case, oh, cool. Oh, that'll be fun. Matthew Flynn says you and Troy are doing a pre-recorded Doctor Who talk. That's going to be pretty amazing because if you guys are so involved in the lore, that will be pretty insightful. So that's good. I'm glad. I'm glad I got to hear your voice last Friday as well. And Jedi Masters Utopia and Jedi Masters Utopia, Matthew Flynn, Back to the Drawing Board. We got to hear Back to the Drawing Board. That was fun. Well, of course, I heard Aged Boomer. Skipper Kenner, Troy's lifelong friend. So anyway, let's go ahead and... Oh, Sean Barnes. Nice to meet you. Anyway, let's adjourn, and I will see you next time. Until I see you next time, keep producing the art you love. And I will catch you later.